Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshushrunmiritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. We welcome you all for the Saturday Bhagavatam class discussion at ISKCON of Silicon Valley. So first we'll start with Brahma Samhita English translations, and then we'll recite the Sanskrit verses. Because today is Lalita Shashti, we'll also discuss something about the tattva and the pastimes of Lalita Sakhi. So by reading these translations and the Sanskrit verses with focus, we can make lots of progress in Krishna consciousness, because Krishna is pleased when we read or hear about him with so much attention. So let's start from the first verse. Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is the supreme Godhead. He has an eternal blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin, and he is the prime cause of all causes. The spiritual place of transcendental pastimes of Krishna is portrayed in the second verse. The super excellent station of Krishna, which is known as Gokula, has thousands of petals and a corolla like that of a lotus sprouted from a part of his infinitary aspect, the whirl of the leaves being the actual abode of Krishna. The whirl of that lotus is the realm wherein dwells Krishna. It is a hexagonal figure, the abode of the indwelling, predominated and predominating aspect of the Absolute. Like a diamond, the central supporting figure of self-luminous Krishna stands as the transcendental source of all potencies. The holy name, consisting of 18 transcendental letters, is manifested in a hexagonal figure with six-fold divisions. The whirl of that eternal rim Gokula is the hexagonal abode of Krishna. Its petals are the abodes of gopis who are part and parcel of Krishna, to whom they are most lovingly devoted and are similar in essence. The petals shine beautifully like so many walls. The extended leaves of the lotus are the garden-like Dhamma, that is spiritual abode of Sri Radhika, the most beloved of Krishna. The surrounding external plane of Gokula is described in this verse. There is a mysterious quadrangular place named Shvetwadvipa surrounding the outskirts of Gokula. Shvetwadvipa is divided into 4 parts on all sides. The abode of Vasudeva, Shankarshana, Pradyumna and Aniruddha are separately located in each of these 4 parts. These 4 divided abodes are enveloped by the 4-fold human requirements such as piety, wealth, passion and liberation. Also by the 4 Vedas, namely Rig, Sama, Yajur and Atharva, which deal with the mantra and which are the basis of achievements of the 4-fold mundane requirements. 10 tridents are fixed in the 10 directions, including the zenith and the nadir. The 8 directions are decorated with the 8 jewels of Mahapadma: Padma, Shanka, Makara, Kachapa, Mukunda, Kunda and Neela. There are 10 protectors, Dikpalas of the 10 directions in the form of mantra. The associates of the hues of blue, yellow, red and white, and the extraordinary potencies bearing the names of Vimala, etc. shine on all sides. The Lord of Gokula is a transcendental supreme Godhead, the own self of eternal ecstasies. He is the superior of all superiors and is busily engaged in the enjoyments of the transcendental realm and has no association with his mundane potency. Krishna never consorts with this illusory energy. Still, her connection is not entirely cut off from the absolute truth. When he intends to create the material world, the amorous pastime in which he engages by consorting with his own spiritual chit potency Rama, by casting his glance at the deluding energy in the shape of sending his time energy, is an auxiliary activity. The secondary process of association with Maya is described. Rama Devi, the spiritual chit potency, beloved consort of the Supreme Lord, is the regulatrix of all entities. The divine plenary portion of Krishna creates the mundane world. At creation, there appears a divine halo of the nature of his own subjective portion, Swamsa. This halo is divine Shambhu, the masculine symbol or manifested emblem of the Supreme Lord. This halo is the dim twilight reflection of the supreme eternal effulgence. This masculine symbol is the subjective portion of divinity who functions as progenitor of the mundane world, subject to the supreme regulatrix Niyati. The conceiving potency in regard to mundane creation makes her appearance out of the supreme regulatrix. She is Maya, the unlimited, the limited, a non-absolute apara potency, the symbol of mundane feminine productivity. The intercourse of these two brings forth the faculty of perverted cognition, the reflection of the seed of procreative desire of the Supreme Lord. All offspring of the consort of the great Lord Maheshwara, of the mundane world, or of the nature of the embodiment of the mundane masculine and feminine generative organs. The person embodying the material causal principle, namely the great Lord of this mundane world, Maheshwara, Shambhu, in the form of the male generating organ, is joined to his female consort, the limited energy, Maya, as the efficient causal principle. The Lord of the world, Mahavishnu, is manifest in him by his subjective portion in the form of his glance. The Lord of the mundane world, Mahavishnu, possesses thousands of heads, eyes, hands. He is the source of thousands of avatars in his thousands of subjective portions. He is the creator of thousands of souls. The same Mahavishnu is spoken by the name of Narayana in this mundane world. From that eternal person has sprung the vast expanse of water of the spiritual causal ocean. The subjective portion of Sankarshana, who abides in Paravyoma, the above Supreme Purusha, with thousands of subjective portions, reposes in the state of divine sleep, Yoga Nidra, in the waters of the spiritual causal ocean. The spiritual seeds of Sankarshana existing in the pores of skins of Mahavishnu are born as of so many golden sperms. These sperms are covered with 5 great elements. The same Mahavishnu entered into each universe as his own subjective portions. The divine portions that are entered into each universe are possessed of his male majestic extension, that is, their eternal universal soul Mahavishnu, possessing thousands and thousands of heads. The same Mahavishnu created Vishnu from his left limb, Brahma, first progenitor of beings, from his right limb, and from the space between his 2 eyebrows, Shambhu, the divine masculine, manifested halo. The function of Shambhu in relation to Jivas is that this universe, enshrining the mundane egotistic principle, has originated from Shambhu. Therefore, the same great personal Godhead, assuming the threefold forms of Vishnu, Prajapati, and Shambhu, entering into the mundane universe, plays the pastimes of preservation, creation and destruction of this world. This pastime is contained in the mundane world, hence it is being perverted. The Supreme Lord, identical with Mahavishnu, prefers to consort with the goddess Yoga Nidra, the constituent of his own spiritual chit potency, full of ecstatic trance of eternal bliss appertaining to his own divine personality. When Vishnu, lying in the ocean of milk, wills to create this universe, the golden lotus springs from his navel pit. The golden lotus, which with its stem is the abode of Brahma, representing Brahmaloka or Satyaloka. Before their conglomeration, the primary elements in their nascent state remained originally separate entities. Non-application of the conglomerating process is the cause of their separate existence. Divine Mahavishnu, primal Godhead, through association with his own spiritual Chit potency, moved Maya and by the application of the conglomerating principle created those different entities in their state of cooperation. And after that, he himself consorted with Yoga Nidra by way of his eternal dalliance with his spiritual Chit potency. By conglomerating all those separate entities, he manifested the innumerable mundane universes and himself entered into the inmost recesses of every extended conglomerate Virat Vigraha. At that time, those jivas who had lain dormant during the cataclysm were awakened. The same jiva is eternal and is for eternity and without a beginning joined the Supreme Lord by the tie of an eternal kinship. He is transcendental spiritual potency. The divine lotus which springs from the navel pit of Vishnu is in every way related by the spiritual tie with all souls and is the origin of four-faced Brahma versed in the four Vedas. On coming out of the lotus, Brahma, being guided by the divine potency, turned his mind to the act of creation under the impulse of previous impressions. But he could see nothing but darkness in every direction. Then the goddess of learning, Saraswati, the divine consort of the Supreme Lord, said thus to Brahma, who saw nothing but gloom in all directions, O Brahma, this mantra, namely Klim Krishnaya Govindaya Gopi Janavallabhaya Swaha, will assuredly fulfill your heart's desire. O Brahma, do thou practice spiritual association by means of this mantra, then all your desires will be fulfilled. Brahma, being desirous of satisfying Govinda, practiced the cultural acts for Krishna in Goloka, Lord of Shvetadvipa, for a long time. His meditation ran thus: there exists a divine lotus of 1,000 petals augmented by millions of filaments in the transcendental land of Goloka. On its world there exists a great divine throne on which is seated Sri Krishna, the form of eternal effulgence of transcendental bliss, playing on his divine flute resonant with the divine sound with his lotus mouth. He is worshipped by his amorous milkmaids with their respective subjective portions and extensions, and also by his external energy who stays outside, embodying all mundane qualities. Then Gayatri, mother of Vedas, being made manifest, that is imparted by the divine sound of the flute of Sri Krishna, entered into the lotus mouth of Brahma, born from himself through his 8-year holes. The lotus-born Brahma, having received the Gayatri, sprung from the flute song of Sri Krishna, attained the status of the twice-born, having been initiated by the supreme primal preceptor God himself. Enlightened by the recollection of that Gayatri, embodying the 3 Vedas, Brahma became acquainted with the expanse of the ocean of truth. Then he worshipped Sri Krishna, the essence of all Vedas, with this hymn. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the first progenitor who is tending the cows, yielding all desires in abodes built with spiritual gems, surrounded by millions of purpose trees, always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds of thousands of Lakshmis or Gopis. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is adept in playing on his flute with blooming eyes like lotus petals, with head decked with peacock's feather, with a figure of beauty tinged with the hue of blue clouds, and his unique loveliness charming millions of gopis. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, round whose neck swinging a garland of flowers, beautified with the moon locket, whose 2 hands are adorned with the flute and jeweled ornaments, who always revels in pastimes of love, whose graceful threefold bending form of Shyama Sundara is eternally manifest. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose transcendental form of bliss, truth, substantiality, and is thus full of the most dazzling splendor. Each of the limbs of that transcendental figure possesses in himself the full-fledged functions of all organs and eternally sees, maintains, and manifests the infinite universes, both spiritual and mundane. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is inaccessible to the Vedas but obtainable by pure unalloyed devotion of the soul, who is without a second, who is not subject to decay, is without a beginning, whose form is endless and who is a beginning, and the eternal Purusha, yet he is a person possessing the beauty of blooming youth. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, only the tip of the toe of whose lotus feet, approached by the yogis who aspire after the transcendental and betake themselves to pranayama by drilling the respiration, or by the jnanis who try to find out the non-differentiated Brahman by the process of elimination of the mundane extending over thousands of millions of years. He is an undifferentiated entity, as there is no distinction between potency and the possessor thereof. In his work of creation of millions of worlds, his potency remains inseparable. All the universes exist in him, and he is present in his fullness in every one of the atoms that are scattered throughout the universe. At one and the same time, such is the primeval Lord whom I adore. I adore the same Govinda, the primeval Lord, in whose praise men who are imbued with devotion sing mantra suktas told by the Vedas, by gaining their appropriate beauty, greatness, thrones, conveyances, and ornaments. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, residing in his own realm, Goloka, with Radha resembling his own spiritual figure, the embodiment of ecstatic potency, possessed of the 64 artistic activities, in the company of her confident Sakhis. Embodiments of the extensions of her bodily form, permeated and vitalized by his ever blissful spiritual rasa. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is Shyama Sundara, Krishna himself with inconceivable, innumerable attributes, with whom whom the pure devotees see in their heart of hearts with the eye of devotion tinged with the salve of love. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who manifested himself personally as Krishna, and the different avatars in the world in the forms of Rama, Nrsimha, Vamana, etc. as his subjective portions. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose effulgence is the source of non-differentiated Brahman mentioned in the Upanishads, being differentiated from the infinity of glories of the mundane universe, appears as the indivisible, infinite, limitless truth. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is the absolute substantiative principle, being the ultimate entity in the form of the support of all existence, whose eternal potency embodies the threefold mundane qualities, namely sattva, rajas, and tamas, and diffuses the Vedic knowledge regarding the mundane world. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose glory ever triumphantly dominates the mundane world by the activity of his own pastimes, being reflected in the mind of recollecting souls as the transcendental entity of ever blissful cognitive rasa. Lowest of all is located Devi Dama, mundane world. Next above is Mahesh Dama, abode of Mahesha. Above Mahesh Dama is placed Hari Dama, abode of Hari, and above them all is located Krishna's own realm, Goloka. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, who has allotted the respective authorities to the rulers of those graded realms. The external potency Maya, who is of the nature of the shadow of the Chit potency, is worshipped by all people as Durga, the creating, preserving, and destroying agency of this mundane world. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, in accordance with whose will Durga conducts herself. Just as the milk is transformed into curd by the action of acids, but yet the curd is neither same as nor different from its cause, namely milk, so I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, of whom the state of Shambhu is the transformation of the performance of the work of destruction. The light of one candle being communicated to other candles, although it burns separately in them, is the same in its quality. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, who exhibits himself equally in the same mobile manner in his various manifestations. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, who, assuming his own great subjective form, who bears the name of Shesha, replete with all accommodating potency, and reposing in the causal ocean with the infinity of the world in the pores of his air enjoys creative sleep, yoga nidra. Brahma and other lords of the mundane worlds appearing from the pores of the hair of Mahavishnu remain alive as long as the duration of one escalation of the latter Mahavishnu. I adore primeval Lord Govinda, of whose subjective personality Mahavishnu is the portion of the portion. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, from whom the separated subjective portion Brahma receives his power for the regulation of the mundane world, just as the sun manifests some portion of his own light in all the effulgent gems that bear the name of Suryakanta, etc. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, whose lotus feet are always held by Ganesha upon the pair of tumuli protruding from his elephant head, in order to obtain power for his function of destroying all obstacles in the path of progress of the three worlds. The three worlds are composed of the 9 elements, namely fire, earth, ether, water, air, direction, time, soul, and mind. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, from whom they originate, in whom they exist, and in whom they enter at the time of the universal cataclysm. The sun, who is the king of all the planets, full of infinite effulgence, the image of the good soul, is as the eye of this world. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, in pursuance of whose order the sun performs his journey, mounting the wheel of time. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, by whose conferred power are maintained the manifested potencies that are found to exist of all virtues, all vices, the Vedas, the penances, and all jivas, from Brahma to the meanest insect. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, who burns up to their roots all fruitive activities of those who are imbued with devotion, and impartially ordains for each the due enjoyment of the fruits of one's activities of all those who walk in the path of work, in accordance with the chain of their previously performed works, no less in the case of tiny insect that bears the name of Indragopa than in that of Indra, the king of heaven. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, the meditators of whom, by meditating upon him under the sway of wrath, amorous passion, natural friendly love, fear, parental affection, delusion, reverence, and willing service, attain to bodily forms befitting the nature of their contemplation. I worship Govinda, the transcendental seat known as Kshetra Dvipa, where as loving consorts the Lakshmis, in their unalloyed spiritual essence, practice in the amorous service of the Supreme Lord as their only lover, where every tree is a transcendental purpose tree, where the soil is the purpose gem, all water is nectar, every word is a song, every gate is a dance, the flute is a favorite attendant, effulgence is full of transcendental bliss, and the supreme spiritual entities are all enjoyable and tasty, where numberless milk cows always emit transcendental ocean of milk, where there is eternal existence of transcendental time, who is ever present and without past or future, and hence is not subject to that quality of passing away even for the space or of half a moment. That realm is known as Goloka only to a very few self-realized souls in this world. On hearing these hymns containing the essence of the truth, the Supreme Lord Krishna said to Brahma, Brahma, if you experience the inclination to create offspring by being endowed with the real knowledge of the glory of Godhead, listen, my beloved, from me to this science set forth in the following 5 shlokas. When the pure spiritual experience is excited by means of cognition and service, super excellent unalloyed devotion characterized by love for Godhead is awakened towards Krishna, the beloved of all souls. The highest devotion is attained by slow degrees by the method of constant endeavor for self-realization with the help of scriptural evidence, theistic conduct, and perseverance in practice. These preliminary practices of devotion, sadhana bhakti, are conducive to the realization of loving devotion. Loving devotion, than whom there is no superior well-being, who goes hand in hand with the attainment of the exclusive state of supreme bliss, and who can lead to myself. Abandoning all meritorious performances, serve me with faith. The realization will correspond to the nature of one's faith. The people of the world act ceaselessly in pursuance of some ideal. By meditating on me, by means of those deeds, one will obtain devotion characterized by love in the shape of the supreme service. Listen, O Vedi, I am the seed, that is the fundamental principle of this world of animate and inanimate objects. I am Pradhana, the substance of matter. I am Prakriti, the material cause. And I am Purusha, the efficient cause. This fiery energy that belongs specially to the Brahman, that inheres in you, has also been conferred by me. It is by bearing this fiery energy that they regulate this phenomenal world of animate and inanimate objects. Om Tat Sat. So we have successfully read the English translations. Now we'll recite the Sanskrit shlokas. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam Sahasrapatra Kamalam Gokulakyam Mahatpadam Tatkarnikaram Tadhama Tad Anantam Shashambhavam Karnikaram Mahadyantram Shatkonam Vajrakilakam Shadanga Shatpadistanam Prakritya Purushena Cha Premananda Mahananda Rasena Vastitam Hiyat Jyotirupena Manuna Kama Bijena Sangatam Tatkinjalkam Tadam Shanam Tatpatrani Shriyamapi Chatur Ashram Tat Paritaha Shetvadvipakyam Adbhutam Chatur Asram Chatur Murtesh Chatur Dama Chatushkritam Chaturbhi Purushartaischa Chaturbhir Hetubhir Vritam Shulair Dashabhir Anadam Urdvado Vidikshvapi Ashtabir Nidibir Jushtam Ashtabi Siddhibistata Manurupaischa Dashabir Dikpalai Paritovritam Shamair Gauraischa Raktaischa Shuklaischa Parsha Darshabhai Shobitam Shakti Bistabir Abhutabi Samantataha Evam Jyotirmayo Devaha Sadanandaha Paratparaha Atma Ramasya Tasyasti Prakrityana Samagamaha Mayaya Ramamanasya Naviyogastaya Saha Atmana Ramaya Reme Tyaktakalam Shirikshaya Niyati Sarama Devi Tatpriya Tadvasham Tada Tallingam Bhagavan Shambhur Jyotirupa Sanatanaha Yayoni Sa Parashakti Kamo Bijam Mahadhare Linga Yoni Atmika Jata Ima Maheshwari Praja Shaktiman Purusha Soyam Lingarupi Maheshwaraha Tasmin Avira Bhulinge Mahavishnur Jagatpatihi Sahasra Shirsha Purushaha Sahasrakshaha Sahasrapat Sahasrabahur Vishwatma Sahasramsha Sahasrasu Narayana sa Bhagavan apastasmat sanatanat avirashit karanarno nidhi sankarshanatmakaha yoga nidram gatastasmin sahasramsha swayam महान् तद्रोमबिलाजालेषु बीजं सङ्कर्षणस्य च हैमानि अण्डानि जातानि महाभूतावृतानि तु प्रति अण्डं एकांशाद् विशति स्वयं सहस्रमूर्धा विश्वात्मा महाविष्णु सनातनः वामाङ्गाद् आसृजत् विष्णुं दक्षिणाङ्गात् प्रजापतिं ज्योतिर्लिङ्गमयं शम्भुं कूर्चदेशाद् अवासृजत् अहङ्कारात्मकं विश्वं तस्मात् एतद्व्यजायत अथ तैस्त्रिविधैर्वेषैर्लीलम् उद्वहतः किल योगनिद्रा भगवती तस्य श्रीरिव सङ्गता श्रीशिक्षायं ततो नाभेस्तस्य पद्मं विनिर्ययौ तन्नालं हेमनलिनं ब्रह्मणो लोकमद्भुतम् तत्त्वानि पूर्वरूढानि कारणानि परस्परं समवायाप्रयोगाच्च विभिन्नानि पृथक् पृथक् चिच्चक्त्या सज्जमानोत भगवानादिपुरुषः योजयन्मायया देवो योगनिद्राम् अकल्पयत् योजित्वा तु तानि एव प्रविवेश स्वयं गुहां प्रविष्टे तस्मिंस्तु जीवात्मा प्रतिबुध्यते स नित्यो नित्यसम्बन्धः प्रकृतिश्च परैव सा एवं सर्वात्मसम्बन्धं नाभ्यां पद्मं हरेरभूत् तत्र ब्रह्मा भवद्भूयश् चतुर्वेदी चतुर्मुखः सञ्जातो भगवच्चक्त्या तत्कालं किल चोडितः सृसृक्षायां मतिं चक्रे पूर्वसंस्कृतः ददर्श केवलं ध्वान्तं नान्यत् किमपि सर्वतः उवाच पुरतस्तस्मै तस्य दिव्या सरस्वती कामकृष्णाय गोविन्द हे गोपीजन इति अपि वल्लभाय प्रियावह्नेर्मन्त्रं ते दास्यति प्रियं तपस्त्वं तप एतेन तव सिद्धिर्भविष्यति अथ ते पेससुचिरं प्रीणन् गोविन्दमव्ययं शेत्वद्वीपपतिं कृष्णं गोलोकस्तं परात्परं प्रकृत्य गुणारूपिण्या पर्युपासितं सहस्रदलसम्पन्ने कोटिकिञ्जल्कबृंहिते भूमिश्चिन्तामणिश्चत्र कर्णिकारे महासने समासिनां चिदानन्दं ज्योतिरूपं सनातनं शब्दब्रह्ममयं वेणुं वादयन्तं मुकाम्बुजे विलासिनी गणवृत्तिं स्वैरंशैरभिष्टुतम् अथ वेणुनिनादस्य त्रयीमूर्तिमयी गतिः स्फुरन्ति प्रविवेशाशु मुखाब्जानि स्वयंभुवः गायत्रीं गायतस्तस्मात् अधिगत्या सरोजजः संस्कृतश्चादिगुणुना द्विजातम् अगमत्ततः त्रय्या प्रबुद्धो अत विद्येर्विज्ञात तत्त्वसागरः तुष्टाव वेदसारेण स्तोत्रेणानेव स्तोत्रेणानेन केशवम् चिन्तामणि प्रकरसत्मसुकल्पवृक्ष लक्षावृतेषु सुरभिरभिपालयन्तं लक्ष्मीसहस्रशतसम्भ्रमसेव्यमानं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि वेनं क्वनन्तमरविन्ददलाय दाक्षं बर्हावतं समसिताम्बुदसुन्दराङ्गं कन्दर्पकोटिकमनीयविशेषशोभं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। आलोलचन्द्रकलसद्वनमाल्यवंशी रत्नाङ्गदं प्रणयकेलिकलाविलासं श्यामं त्रिभङ्गललितं नियतप्रकाशं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। अङ्गानि यस्य सकलेन्द्रियवृत्तिमन्ति पश्यन्ति पान्ति कलयन्ति चिरं जगन्ति आनन्दचिन्मयसदुज्ज्वलविग्रहस्य गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। अद्वैतमच्युतमनादिमनन्तरूपम् आद्यं पुराणपुरुषं नवयौवनं च वेदेषु दुर्लभमदुर्लभमात्मभक्तौ गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। पन्तास्तु कोटिशतवत्सरसम्प्रगम्यो वायोरतापि मनसो मुनिपुङ्गवानां सोऽप्यस्ति यत्प्रपदसीं निविचिन्त्य तत्त्वे गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। एकोऽप्यसौ रचयितुं जगदण्डकोटिं यच्शक्तिरस्ति जगदण्डचयाय दन्तः अण्डान्तरस्थपरमाणुचयान्तरस्थं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। यद्भावभावितधियो मनुजास्तथैव सम्प्राप्य रूपमहिमासनयानभूषा सूक्तैर्यमेव निगमप्रथितैस्तुवन्ति गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। आनन्दचिन्मयरसप्रतिभाविताभिस्ताभिर्य एव निजरूपतया कलाभि गोलोक एव निवसत्यखिलात्मभूतो गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। प्रेमाञ्जनचूरितभक्तिविलोचनेन सन्तः सदैव हृदयेषु विलोकयन्ति यं श्यामसुन्दरमचिन्त्य गुणस्वरूपं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। रामादिमूर्तिषु कलानियमेन तिष्ठन् नानावतारमकरोद्भुवनेषु किन्तु कृष्णः स्वयं समभवत् परमपुमान्यो गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। यस्य प्रभा प्रभवतो जगदण्डकोटि कोटिष्वशेषवसुधादिविभूतिभिन्नं तद्ब्रह्मनिष्कलमनन्तमशेषभूतं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। माया हि यस्य जगदण्डशतानि सूते त्रैगुण्य तद्विषय वेदवितायमाना सत्त्वावलम्बि परसत्त्वं विशुद्धसत्त्वं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। आनन्दचिन्मयरसात्मतया मनस्सु यः प्राणिनां प्रतिपलं स्मरतामुपेत्य लीलायितेन भुवनानि जयत्यजस्रं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। गोलोकनाम्नि निजदाम्नि तले च तस्य देवी महेश हरिधामसुतेषु तेषु ते ते प्रभावनिचया विहिताश्रयेण गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। सृष्टि स्थिति प्रलय साधन शक्तिरेका चायेव यस्य भुवनानि बिभर्ति दुर्गा इच्छानुरूपमपि यस्य च तिष्ठते सा गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। क्षीरं यथा दधिविकारविशेषयोगात् सञ्जायते न हि ततः पृथगस्ति हेतु यः सम्भुतामपि तथा समुपैति कार्यात् गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। दीपार्चिरेव हि दशान्तरमभ्युपेत्य दीपायते विवृतहेतुसमानधर्मा यस्तादृगेव हि च विष्णुतया विभाति गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। यः कारणार्वजले भजति स्म योगा निद्रामनन्तजगदण्डसरोमकूपः आधारशक्तिमवलम्ब्य परां स्वमूर्तिं गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। यस्यैकनिश्वसितकालमतावलम्ब्य जीवन्ति लोमविलजा जगदण्डनाथा विष्णोर्महान् स इह यस्य कलाविशेषो गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। भास्वान् यथाश्मशकलेषु नित्येषु तेजः स्वीयं कियत् प्रकटयति अपि तत्त्वतत्र ब्रह्मा य एष जगदण्डविधानकर्ता गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। यत्पादपल्लवयुगं विनिधाय कुम्भ द्वन्द्वे प्रणामसमये स गणाधिराजा विघ्नान् विहन्तुमलमस्य जगत्त्रयस्य गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। अग्निर्मही गगनमम्बुमरुर्दिशश्च कालस्ततात्ममनसीति जगत्त्रयानि यस्माद्भवन्ति विभवन्ति विशन्ति यं च गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। यच्चक्षुरे स सविता सकलग्रहाणां राजा समस्तसुरमूर्तिरशेषतेजा यस्य ज्ञया भ्रमति संवृतकालचक्रो गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि। धर्मोतपापनिचया श्रुतयस्तपांसि ब्रह्मादिकीटपतगावदयश्च जीवा यद्दत्तमात्र विभव प्रकट प्रभावा Govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Yastvindra gopamatavendra mahosvakarma bandhanurupa palabhajanamatanoti karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhajam govindamadipurusham tamaham bhajami. Yam krodha kama sahaja pranayadi bhiti vatsalya moha guru gaurava sevya bhavai sanchintya tasya sadrishim tanuma purete govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Shriya kanta kanta pura parama purusha kalpataravo druma bhumischintamani ganamayi toyamamritam kata ganam natyam gamanam api vamsi priyasaki chidanandam jyoti paramapi tada svadyamapi cha sayatra kshiradbhi shravati surabhibhyascha sumuhan nimeshardakhyo va vrajati nahi yatrapi samayaha. Bhaje shvetva tamaham iha golokamitiyam vidantaste santaha shiti viralachara katipaye ato vacha mahavishnu bhagavantam prajapatim brahman mahatva vijnane prajasarge chachenmatihi Panchashlokim imam vidyam vatsadattam nibodame prabuddhe jnana bhaktibhyam atmani ananda chinmayi udeti anuttama bhaktir bhagavat prema lakshana pramanaistat sadachaраистad abhyasair nirantaram bodhayanatmanatmanam bhaktim api uttamam labet yasya shreyaskaram nasti yaya nirvrittim apnuyat ya sadayati mameva bhaktim tameva sadayet dharmananyan parityajya mamekam bhaja vishwasan yadrishi shraddha siddhir bhavati tadrishi kurvan nirantaram karma lokoyam anuvartate tenaiva karmana dhyayan mam param bhaktimicchati aham hi visvasya characharasya bijam pradhanam prakriti pumamscha maya hitam teja idam bibarshi vide videhi tvam ato jaganti Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam Iti Shri Brahma Samhita Sampurnam Hari Om. That's it. So that's a yajna that we perform right now by reciting Brahma Samhita, and it's very pleasing to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now let's sing some songs. Mataji, can you bring up Yashomati Nandana? Yashomati Nandana. यशोमती नन्दना व्रजवरनागर गोकुलरञ्जनकाना Dana Madana Manohara Kaliya Damana Vidana Amala Harinam Amiya Vilasa Amala Harinam Amiya Vilasa Vipina Purandara Navina Nagaravara Vipina Purandara Navina Nagaravara Vamshi Vadana Suvasa Vamshi Vadana Suvasa Vraja Jana Palana Asra Kula Nashana Jana Palana Ashra Kula Nasana Nanda Godana Rakovala Nanda Godana Rakovala Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara Madhava Navanita Taskara Sundara Nanda Gopala Sundara Nanda Gopala Yamuna Tatachara Gopi Vasanahara Una Tatachara Gopi Vasanahara Rasa Rasika Kripa Moya Rasa Rasika Kripa Moya Shri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Natavara Shri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Natavara Bhakti Vinoda Ashraya Bhakti Vinoda Ashraya Yashomati Nandana Vrajavaranagara Gokula Ranjana Kana Vrajavaranagara Gokula Ranjana Kana. So let's read the English translations. Lord Krishna is the beloved son of Mother Yashoda, the transcendental lover in the land of Vraja, the delight of Gokula, everyone's darling, and the life and soul of the gopis. He steals the mind of even Cupid and punishes the Kaliya serpent. These pure holy names of Lord Hari are full of sweet nectarian pastimes. Krishna is the Lord of the 12 forests of Vraja. He is ever youthful and he is the best of lovers. He is always holding a flute to his lips and he is an excellent dresser. Krishna is the protector of the inhabitants of Vraja, the destroyer of various demoniac dynasties, the keeper and tender of Nanda Maharaj's cows, the giver of pleasure to the cows, land and spiritual senses, the husband of the Radharani, the supreme goddess of fortune, the butter thief and the beautiful cowherd boy of Nanda. Krishna wanders along the banks of the river Yamuna, where he stole the garments of the gopis. He delights in the mellows of the rasa dance. He is very merciful. He is the lover and beloved of Srimati Radharani. He is the great dancer of Vrindavana, and he is the only refuge of Bhakti Vinoda. Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. So now before we start the class, let's tell the long version of the pranam prayers to our acharyas. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्विता श। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशधारिणे। Yeah, we can go forward. Yeah. नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिसिद्धान्त सरस्वतीति नामिने। श्रीवर्षभानावि देवी दायिताय कृपाप्तये कृष्णसम्बन्ध विज्ञान दायिने प्रभवे नमः। माधुर्योज्ज्वल प्रेमाद्य श्रीरूपानुगभक्तिदा श्रीगौर करुणा शक्ति विग्रहाय नमोस्तुते। नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्तये दीनतारिणे रूपानुग विरुदाप सिद्धान्तद्वान्तहारिणे। नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षात् वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्बारसाम्बोधे पादाम्बुजायते नमः। नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगवराय ते। गौराविर्भावभूमे स्वं निर्देष्टा सज्जनप्रियः वैष्णवा सर्वभौमा श्रीजगन्नाथाय ते नमः। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो नमो जगत्पते गोपीश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। जयतां सुरतौ पंगोर्मम मंद मतेर्गति मत्सर्वस्व पदाम्बोजौ श्री श्री राधा मदन मोहनौ। दिव्यात् वृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमादः श्रीमद्रत्नागार सिंहासनस्थौ श्रीमद्राधा श्रीलगोविन्ददेवौ पृष्ठालिभिः सेव्यमानौ स्मरामि। श्रीमान् रासरसारम्भी वंशीवटतटस्थितः कर्षन् वेणुस्वनैर्गोपीर्गोपीनाथ श्रियेस्तु नः। तप्तकाञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वृन्दायै तुलसीदेव्यायै प्रियायै केशवस्य च Vishnu Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavatyai Namo Namaha. Shri Narsimha Jai Narsimha Jai Jai Narsimha Praladesha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bringa Matsamo Nasti Papatma Naparadi Chakashana Parihare api lajjame kim bruve purushottama yuvatinam yata yuni yunam cha yuvatau yata mano abhiramate tadvan mano me ramatam tvai bhumau skalita padanam bhumireva valammanam tvai jata paradanam Tvameva Sharanam Prabhu Govinda Vallabhe Radhe Prarthaye Tvamaham Sada Twadiyam iti janatau Govindo Mam Tvaya Saha Radhe Vrindavanadishe Karunamrita Vahini Kripaya nija padabja dasyam mayam pradiyatam vande nanda vrajastrinam padarenum abhikshnashah yasham hari kato geetam punati bhuvanatrayam Namashreshtam manamappi shachiputram atra swarupam Shri Rupam tasyagracham urupurim maturim koshtavatim Radha kundam girivaramaho radhika madavasham Prapto yasya pratita kripaya Shri Gurum tam natosmi Adadadhanastrinam dantair idam yache punah punah Srimat Rupa Padamboja Rajoham Syam Bhave Bhave Hantayam Madarir Abala Haridasa Varyo Yadrama Krishna Charanas Sparshama Pramodaha Manam Tanoti Sahogo Ganayostayoryat Paniya Suya Vasa Kandara Kannamulai Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So with the blessings of all the acharyas and the deities, so let's start discussing. So we all celebrate birthdays, and today is also a special birthday, because by celebrating the birthday of the associates and the Lord, we become purified. But the problem is, it's very difficult to understand their greatness and the qualities and what to speak of describing them. So today is the appearance day of Lalita Sakhi, and we are very unqualified to talk about her. But just following the footsteps of the Acharyas and other Vaishnavas, let us discuss some of her pastimes and the tattva of the Sakhis, so that we can be purified. So I'm just here like a postwoman, delivering what I heard from the previous Acharyas, and on my own, I don't have any experience or realizations. So with your permission, let's start the discussion. So in Brahma Samhita, we just read that Krishna is Satchidananda Vigraha. So Satchidananda Vigraha means he is full of eternity, knowledge and bliss. And we also read how from Krishna all the Mahavishnu comes. From one blink of the eye of Krishna, many Mahavishnus get produced. And from the pores of Mahavishnu, for every breath, millions of universes are created. So, and then there are so many expansions of the Lord Himself. And so, like that, Krishna creates the entire world, and then it's all meant for only one purpose, which is for His pleasure and for His satisfaction. So now, when Krishna wants to enjoy, He Himself is Radharani. So there is no difference between Krishna is male form and God's female form is Radharani. So like how God's male form means Krishna has many expansions, like that Radharani also has many expansions. And he also, and there are three potencies of Radharani, as we all know, that Samvit and Sandini, Samvit and Hiladini. And these internal potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead perform various functions. So the concept of how Radharani's expansions come from and what is the purpose of those expansions is explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So before we read about Lalita Sakhi, where she was born, and a few pastimes of her, let's understand the concept of why the exalted position of the gopis and what do they do in the spiritual world. So now let's start. Can we bring up Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, 4th chapter, verse 71? Can we bring, Mataji? Veda base, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, 71st chapter. Oh, you gave the control to me? Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Yes. Of chapter 4, verse 71. 71. Yeah, you can do that. Krishna prema bhavita yanra chitendriya kaya Krishna nija shakti radha kridara sahaya. So Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami says that her mind, senses and body are steeped in love for Krishna. She is Krishna's own energy and she helps him in his pastimes. Purport: Srimati Radharani is as fully spiritual as Krishna. No one should consider her to be material. She is definitely not like the conditioned souls who have material bodies gross and subtle, covered by material senses. She is all spiritual, and both her body and mind are of the same spiritual embodiment. Because her body is spiritual, her senses are also spiritual. Thus, her body, mind, and senses fully shine in love of Krishna. She is personified Hiladini Shakti, the pleasure giving energy of the Lord's internal potency, and therefore she is the only source of enjoyment for Krishna. So, Sandini form gives the form of Lord Krishna, and Hiladini is the internal potency of Lord Krishna. Shri Krishna cannot enjoy anything that is internally different from him. Therefore, Radha and Krishna are identical. The Sandini portion of Shri Krishna's internal potency has manifested all attractive form of Sri Krishna. And the same internal potency Hiladini feature has presented Srimati Radharani, who is the attraction for all attractive. No one can match Radharani in the transcendental pastime of Sri Krishna. And so we said that's Sandhini, Samvit, and Hiladini. So Sandhini is a form of Krishna, and then Hiladini is the all attractive form of Srimati Radharani, and the Samvit is the potency by which Krishna knows, the all-knowing potency of the God, and when imparted into us, we'll be able to understand Radha and Krishna. So now, this is the next verse is the verse we read in Brahma Samhita, where it is clearly explained how the expansions of gopis, the expansions of Radharani, carry this ecstasy, and their heart is still permeated with the same love. So let's read the verse. Ananda chinmaya rasa pratibhavitabi stabirya eva nijarupataya kalabi goloka eva nivasatya kilatma bhuto govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who resides in his own realm Goloka with Radha, who resembles his own spiritual figure and who embodies the ecstatic potency of the Lord. Their companions are her confidence who embody extension of her bodily form and who are imbued and permeated with ever blissful spiritual rasa. So Krishna is there and he has three potencies, and from his internal potency embodiment is Srimati Radharani. And Radharani, as it is said here, she has many extensions of her bodily forms. And each one of the bodily forms, like we have like the Chaturvyuha form, we say that it's not different from Krishna. Like that, the extensions of Radharani's body are these Sakhis, and they are non-different from her, and their form is ever blissful spiritual rasa. So now one may ask, like if Krishna, first we saw that Krishna is Sachidananda Vigraha, means he's complete in himself, and he's fully happy, he doesn't need anything else. Now why does he create these, why does Radharani exist, and why are these expansions? Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami explains in the next verse. Krishnera karaya eche rasa aswadana kridara sahaya eche shuna vivarana. Now please listen to how Lord Krishna's concerts help him taste rasa and how they help him in his pastimes. Krishna Kanta Gana Deki Trivida Prakara Eka Lakshmi Gana Pure Mahishi Ganara Vrajangana Rupa Ara Kanta Gana Sara Shri Radhika Haite Kanta Ganera Vistara. The beloved consorts of Lord Krishna are of three kinds: the goddess of fortune, the queens, and the milkmaids of Vraja, who are the foremost of all. These consorts all proceed from Radhika. Because there is also a verse in the sidelong Radha Kripa Kataksha that Lord Shiva sang about Radharani, and in this verse also he sings Makheshwari, Kriyeshwari, Swadeshwari, Sureshwari, Triveta Bharateshwari, Pramana Sasaneshwari, Rameshwari, Kshameshwari, Pramoda Kananeshwari, Vrajeshwari, Vrajadipe, Shiradike Namostute. And before that also he says, Ananta Koti Vishnu Loka Namra Padma Jarchite, Himadrija Pulomaja Virinchaja Varaprade, Apara Siddhi Vriddhi Dikti Satpadangulinake. So he says that means all the Devis whom we say in this world, all the goddesses of fortune and the queens and everybody comes from Radhika. So that's the same thing, the point that is said that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is categorizing them. There are three kinds of them. One is the goddess of fortune, the queens, and the milkmaids of Raja. We got the gopis. Avatari Krishna eche kare avatara amshini radhe haiteti naganera vistara. Just as the fountainhead Lord Krishna is the cause of all incarnations, so Sri Radha is the cause of all these concerts. Vaibhava ganayena tandra anga vibhuti bimba prati bimba rupa maheshira thati. The goddess of fortune are partial manifestations of Srimati Radhika, and the queens are reflections of her image. Lakshmi Gana Tandra Vaibhava Vila Shamsha Rupa Mahishi Gana Vaibhava Prakasha Swarupa. The goddess of fortune are her plenary portions, and they display the forms of Vaibhava Vilasa. The queens are of the nature of her Vaibhava Prakasha. Akara Swabhava Bede Vraja Devi Gana Kaya Vyuha Rupa Tandra Rase Sarakarana. The Vraja Devis have diverse bodily features. They are her expansions and are the instruments for expanding rasa. Bahu kanta vina nahe rasera ullasa lila rasahaya lagi bahuta prakasha. Without many concerts, there is not such exaltation in rasa. Therefore, there are many manifestations of Srimati Radharani in the Lord's pastimes. So, in the previous verse, we read that there are many types of gopis. Before we read the last verse, I just want to confirm that so Radha is the fountainhead of all concerts, and we read that the goddess of fortunes are the partial manifestations of Radhika, and they are plenary expansions, and the Vraja Devis, they are her expansions, and they have diverse bodily features. So in Vaikunta, it said that everybody has 4 hands and they look like Vishnus, and there are some forms that differentiates. So even though it is said that all of them look alike, there are different features. Like how, suppose if we come from India for the first time, we see all Americans, they look alike. But as time passes by, we can see that there are different features. So these expansions, though they come from Radharani, they have diverse bodily features, they have diverse moods, and they have diverse activities that they perform. But all these activities are performed for only one purpose, to give pleasure to Radha and Krishna and assist them in their service. So that's explained in the next verse. So let's read the 81st verse. Tara madhye vrajanana bhava rasa bede Krishna ke karaya rasadi kalila swade. Among them are various groups of concerts in Vraja who have varieties of sentiments and mellows. They help Lord Krishna taste all the sweetness of rasa dance and other pastimes. As explained, Krishna and Radha are one in two. They are identical. Krishna expands himself in multi-incarnations. So now it's better, right? The font. Oh. Krishna expands himself in multi-incarnations and plenary portions like the Purushas. Similarly, Srimati Radharani expands herself in multi-forms as the goddesses of fortune, the queens and the damsels of Vraja. Such expansions from Srimati Radharani are all her plenary expansions. All these womanly forms of Krishna are expansions corresponding to his plenary expansions of Vishnu forms. These expansions have been compared to reflected forms of the original form. There is no difference between the original form and the reflected forms. The female reflections of Krishna's pleasure potency are as good as Krishna himself. The plenary expansions of Krishna's personality are called Vaibhava Vilasa and the Vaibhava Prakasha. And Radharani's expansions are similarly described. The goddesses of fortune are her Vaibhava Vilasa and the queens are her Vaibhava Prakasha. The personal associates of Radharani, the damsels of Raja, are direct expansions of her body. As expansions of her personal form and transcendental disposition, they are agents of different reciprocations of love in the pastimes of Lord Krishna. Under the supreme direction of Radharani, in the transcendental realm, enjoyment is fully relished in variety. The exuberance of transcendental mellows is increased by the association of a large number of personalities similar to Radharani, who are also known as gopis or sakhis. The variety of innumerable mistresses is a source of relish for Krishna. And therefore, these expansions from Srimati Radharani are necessary for enhancing the pleasure potency of Sri Krishna. Their transcendental exchanges are the super excellent affairs of the pastimes in Vrindavana. By these expansions of Srimati Radharani's personal body, she helps Lord Krishna taste the rasa dance and other similar activities, Srimati Radharani being the central petal of Rasa Leela flower and is also known by the names found in the following verses. So, we understand now the main tattva of the gopis, because Krishna wants to enjoy, and when Krishna wants to enjoy, he cannot enjoy something material. So, it has to be internal. It has to be his internal spiritual potency, and which is Radharani. And he doesn't want to stop with one, because the ecstasy is there in variety. See the king's, if we go to the king's palace, it's not that he just lives in one room and there is one garden, because there are millions of varieties of gardens, varieties of rooms with varieties of arrangements. So variety gives pleasure. So in that sense, Radharani also expands herself these forms of these sakhis, and many of them, so that all these mistresses give pleasure to Krishna. So that is the main goal of these gopis. And the main purpose of why these expansions happen from the personal body of Radharani. So now let's read a little more about the tattva of the gopis, which is explained. So Kaviraj Goswami here exemplifies the purpose more of what gopis do and why they exist. Radha saha krida rasa vridira karana arasabha gopikana rasopakarana. All the other gopis help increase the joy of Krishna's pastimes with Radharani. The gopis act as the instruments of their mutual enjoyment. It is said that the gopis are divided into 5 groups, namely Sakhis, Nitya Sakhis, Prana Sakhis, Priya Sakhis, and Paramasakis. All these fair complexioned associates of Srimati Radharani, the queen of Vrindavan Dama, are expert artists in evoking erotic sentiments in Krishna. Paramapreshta Sakhis are 8 in number and in the ecstatic dealings of Krishna and Radha. They side sometimes with Krishna and other times with Radharani, just to create a situation in which it appears that they favor one against the other. That makes the exchange of mellows more palatable. So now, we said that from Radharani, there are many Sakhis come. And now those Sakhis are divided into 5. So first is the Sakhis, means they are ordinary Sakhis. Ordinary Sakhis are Vrinda, Dhanishta. Those Sakhis are ordinary Sakhis. Nitya Sakhis means Mani Manjari. All those Sakhis are, they are always, eternally they are Sakhis. And then the Prana Sakhis are Shashi and Mukhi. And Priya Sakhis are Kamala and Madhava, like that. And Parama Preshta Sakhis are Ashta Sakhis. Ashta Sakhis are the one in Mayapur, we see the 8 Sakhis who are the principal leaders of the millions of Sakhis who exist from Krishna. So now of the Ashta Sakhis, the names of the Ashta Sakhis are Lalita, Vishaka, Champakalata, Sudevi, Rangadevi, Tungavidya and Chitra. So of all those 8 Sakhis, the topmost is the leader, the group leader. So next to Radharani is Lalita Sakhi. And today is her appearance day. So we'll read more about the Tattva before we enter into her pastimes. So, in this verses it explains that how difficult, who can understand the pastimes of Radha and Krishna and how it could be understood and how exalted it is. So, in this verse it says that Radha Krishnera Leela Eyi Ati Gudhatara Dasya Vatsalyadi Bhavena Haya Gochara. The pastimes of Radha and Krishna are very confidential. They cannot be understood through the mellows of servitude, fraternity, or parental affection. Sabe eka saki ganera iganadikara saki haite haya ei lilara vistara. Actually, only the gopis have the right to appreciate these transcendental pastimes. Only from them can these pastimes be expanded. Saki vina ei lila pushtana hi haya Saki lila vistariya saki aswadaya. Without the gopis, these pastimes between Radha and Krishna cannot be nourished. Only by their cooperation are such pastimes broadcast. It is their business to taste the mellows. Saki vina ei lilaya anya hi gati Sakhi bhave etan rekara anugati. Radha Krishna kunja seva sadhya seyi paya. Seyi sadhya payi te aranahika upaya. Without the help of the gopis, one cannot enter into these pastimes. Only one who worships the Lord in the ecstasy of the gopis, following in their footsteps, can engage in the service of Sri Sri Radha Krishna in the bushes of Vrindavana. Only then can one understand the conjugal love between Radha and Krishna. There is no procedure for understanding. The means for returning home, for going back to Godhead, is devotional service. But everyone has a different taste in Lord's service. One may be inclined to serve the Lord in servitude, dasya ras, fraternity, sakya ras, eternal love, vatsalya ras. But none of these can enable one to enter into the service of the Lord in conjugal love. To attain such service, one has to follow in the footsteps of the gopis in the ecstasy of Sakhi Bhava. Then only can one understand the transcendental mellows. Nilamani, Sakhi Prakarana 1, Srila Rupa Goswami says, Prema Leela Viharanam Samyak Vistarika Sakhi Vishramba Ratna Peti Cha. One who expands the conjugal love of Krishna and his enjoyment among is called a Sakhi. So he's explaining who is a Sakhi. A Sakhi is the one who expands the conjugal love of Krishna and his enjoyment among the gopis is called a Sakhi. Such a person is a confidential gopi in the conjugal affairs. Such assistants are like jewels in the form of Krishna's confidence. The actual business of the Sakhis is described thus in Ujjwala Nilamani, Sakhi Prakarana 88-91. Mita preme gunot kirti stayor asakti karita abhisara dvaya sakya krishne samarpanam narmashvana nepatyam hridayogata pathavam Chidra samvrittir etsyaha pati adeha pravanchana parivanchana shiksha sangamanam kale sevanam vyajanadibhi tayor upalabha sandesha prashanam tatha nayika prana samraksha prayatnadhya sakhi kriya. Conjugal pastimes of Krishna, Krishna is the hero, Nayaka, and Radhika is the heroine, Nayika. The first business of the gopis is to chant the glories of both the hero and the heroine. Their second business is to gradually create a situation in which the hero may be attracted to the heroine and vice versa. Their third business is to include both of them to approach each other. Their fourth business is to surrender unto Krishna. The fifth is to create a jovial atmosphere. The sixth, to give them assurance to enjoy their pastimes. The seventh, to dress and decorate both hero and heroine. The eighth, to show expertise in expressing desires. The ninth, to conceal the faults of the heroine. The 10th, to cheat their respective husbands and relatives. The 11th, to educate. The 12th, to enable both the hero and heroine to meet at the proper time. The 13th, to fan the hero and the hero and the heroine. The 14th, to sometimes reproach the hero and heroine. The 15th, to set conversations in motions. And the 16th, to protect heroine by various means. So those are the activities what the Sakhis do. Like how we understand the expansions of Krishna, how they create and they do so many activities like that. The expansions of Radharani, the Sakhis, this is their activities, starting with the glorification of the hero and the heroine, and then bringing them together and expanding their loving relationship. But Prabhupada warns that sometimes people try to imitate this, and how that's not the way to attain to this, to gain entrance into this conjugal pastimes. Some materialistic sahajias who cannot actually understand the pastimes of Radha and Krishna manufacture lifestyles without referring to authority. Such sahajiyas are called Sakhi Begi, and sometimes they are called Gaura Nagari. They believe that the material body which is fit to be eaten by jackals and dogs is enjoyable for Krishna. Consequently, they artificially decorate the material body to attract Krishna, thinking themselves Sakhis. But Krishna is never attracted by the artificial grooming of the material body. As far as Srimati Radharani and her gopis are concerned, their bodies, homes, dresses, ornaments, endeavors, and activities are all spiritual. All of these are meant to satisfy the spiritual senses of Krishna. Indeed, they are so pleasing and endearing to Krishna that he is subjugated by the influence of Srimati Radharani and her friends. They have nothing to do with anything mundane within the 14 planetary systems of the universe. Although Krishna is attractive to everyone, he is nonetheless attractive to the gopis and Srimati Radharani. One should not be misled by mental concoctions, supposing his material body to be perfect and deeming oneself of a Sakhi. This is something like Ahangra Hopasana, that is a Mayavadi worship of his body as a supreme. Srila Jiva Goswami has cautioned mundaners to abstain from such conceptions. He also warns that thinking oneself of the associates of the Supreme without following in the footsteps of the gopis is as offensive as thinking oneself the Supreme. Such thinking is an aparada. One has to practice living in Vrindavana by hearing about the talks of the gopis with Krishna. However, one should not consider himself a gopi, for this is offensive. So, here that's the end of the tattva of the. So we started with how Krishna has three potencies and Radharani is the internal potency, and from her internal potency there are many expansions, and there are three categories of that in expansions, and there are five categories of the Sakhis, and of those Sakhis the Prana the 8 Sakhis are the topmost, and of those 8 topmost Sakhis, Lalita is the group leader. So, and Prabhupada also explains what is the definition of a Sakhi, who expands the conjugal love of the hero and the heroine, and all the activities that the gopis and the Sakhis do, and how one should not imitate a gopi because it is as sinful as thinking that we are the supreme. So Jiva Goswami warns about that. So with that understanding of the tattva of the gopis, we'll sing one song and enter some of the pastimes and more details about Lalita Sakhi. Okay? So Priya will sing that song, Radha Krishna Pranamoro.
Okay, thank you. Radha Krishna Pranamora Jugala Kishora Radha Krishna Pranamora Jugala Kishora जीवने मरने गति हारो नाही मोरा जीवने मरने गति हारो नाही मोरा राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगला किशोरा
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगला किशोरा
कालिंदीर कूले केली कादंबेरा
कादम्बेरवाना
रतन बेदीरा ऊपर बोसा बोधु जाना रतन बेदीरा
ऊपर बोसा बोधु जाना
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगल किशोरा
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगल किशोरा
श्याम गौरी अंगे दीपो चंदनेर गंधा
श्याम गौरी अंगे दिवो चंदनेर गंधा
श्याम गौरी अंगे दीपो चंदनेर गंधा
श्याम गौरी अंगे दिवो चंदनेर गंधा
चामर ढोला कबे हेरी मुख चंद्र
चामर डुलाबो कबे हेरी मुख चंद्र
चामरा ढोला भो कबे हेरी मुख चंद्र
चामर डुलाबो कबे हेरी मुख चंद्र
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगल किशोरा
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगल किशोरा
गतियामला तीर्मला दिबो दोहार गाले
गतियामला निर्मला दिबो दोहार गले
गतियामला तीर्मला दिबो दोहार गले गतियामला तीर्मला दिबो दोहार गले आधार तुलिया दिबो कर्पूरता आधार तुलिया दीपो कर्पूरतांबूले राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगल किशोरा राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगल किशोरा ललिता विशाखा यदि जठ सखी वृंदा ललिता विशाखा यदि जठ सखी वृंदा ललिता विशाखा यदि जट सखी वृंदा
Chata Sakhi Brinda.
Agyaya koribo seva charanaravinda.
Agyaya koribo seva charanaravinda.
Agyaya koribo seva charanaravinda.
Agnaya koribo seva charanaravinda.
Radha Krishna Pranamora Jugala Kishora.
Radha Krishna Pranamora Jugala Kishora.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Dasaranudas.
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 Seva bhilasha kore narotamadas.
Seva Vilasha Kore Narotamadas.
Seva bhilasha kore narotamadas.
Seva Vilasha Kore Narotamadas.
Radha Krishna Pranamora Jugala Kishora.
Radha Krishna Pranamora Yugala Kishora.
Radha Krishna Pranamora Jugala Kishora.
Radha Krishna Pranamora Yugala Kishora.
Gala Kishora.
Yugala Kishora. Thank you. So let's just quickly read the meaning.
The divine couple Shri Radha and Krishna is in life or death. I have no other refuge but them. In a forest of small kadamba trees on the bank of the Yamuna, I will seat the divine couple on a throne made of brilliant jewels. I will anoint their dark and fair forms with sandalwood paste, scented with chuya, and will fan them with the chamra whisk. Oh, when will I behold their moon-like faces? After stringing together garlands of malati flowers, I will place them around their necks, and I will offer tambul, camphor, to their lotus mouths. With the permission of all the Sakhis headed by Lalita and Vishakha, I will serve the lotus feet of Radha Krishna. Narottama Das, the servant of Sri Chaitanya Prabhu, longs for this service to the divine couple.
Sir. So now let's get into the details of Lalita Sakhi. So Lalita Sakhi was born in Uchagram. Uchagram is it's a little higher place and it's near Barsana. And her mother's name is Saradi and her father's name is Vishoka. And as we all know, in mundane sense, all the gopis are married and they have husbands. And because it's a paramour relationship with Krishna, she also has a husband, and his name is Bhairava, and he is also a very close with the husband of Chandravali. So the relationships are very complex in Vrindavan. And her color is yellow, her bodily color of the color of yellow pigment, and her cloth is of peacock feathers color. So all the gopis have some special service. They do all service, but the special service that they render to Krishna. So for her, the special service that she renders to the couple is the tambula, the betel net. So if we go into Mayapur, we see that gopi sometimes having the betel nut, the box with the tambula, and also they offer that to the deities in the afternoon and in the night. And Lalita, she was born like on Shashti, which is 2 days before Ashtami, the 6th day of moon. And she's 14 years, 8 months, and 27 days old. So, like in this material world, we always age because there is a concept of time and there is a process of deterioration. But in spiritual world, there is no concept of time and everything exists for eternity. So all these gopis, all the residents of Golaka are almost teenagers. For example, Lalita Gopi doesn't grow beyond 14 years, 8 months, and 27 days. And she is the eldest of all gopis, and she is 27 days elder to Radharani, and she makes much use of privilege that she had, that she is the eldest of Radharani, and we'll see how. And her mood is, she's a jealousy heroine because she even chastises her beloved Krishna. And we can see this in the pastimes of Dan, when Krishna said that all the gopis had to pay the price to cross, then near Govardhan. Then at that time Krishna tried to touch Radharani, and Vishaka took the role of an elder gopi and she chastised Krishna that Krishna cannot touch her. So like that, Lalita took the superior position, and she said that Krishna cannot touch Radharani at that time. So Krishna has 2 wings of gopis. One is the left wing and the other one is the right wing. Left wing gopis are headed by Radharani, Lalita, and the right wing gopis are Chandravali. So the difference is the group of Chandravali gopis, they are very submissive to Krishna. Whatever Krishna says, they just listen. The gopis, on the left wing gopis, they are like, they always think that Krishna is mine. But the right wing gopis thinks that I belong to Krishna. But then the left wing gopis thinks that Krishna belongs to me. So they question Krishna, they chastise Krishna, and Krishna loves that. So it is always said by our acharyas that left wing gopis the pastimes are more exalted than the right wing gopis. So Chandravali belongs to the right wing and Radharani is the left wing. And she almost is like Lalita is almost like the Shiksha Guru of Radharani. And she tells Radharani what to do and what to not to do, at what time to do, and all that. And Lalita Sakhi is very expert in making arrangements. So now we had a festival, and there were lots of flower decorations need to be made, and altar decoration has to be done. So, and there has to be the dais on which the deities stand, and what dress they wear, and how the altar is decorated. So all those things are the skills that are required in Golok. It's all the scientific skills, mathematical skills that we learn in the universities of today. It's not mentioned anywhere that it's required, because all that is required is the artistic skills to give pleasure to Krishna. So Lalita Sakhi is very expert in making the flower arrangements, determining the time when Radha and Krishna should meet, and how the platform should be, and how even the way in which they walk should be nicely arranged. So all those full decorations and arrangements are very well done by Lalita Sakhi, and she guides her Manjaris and the other Sakhis who are under her guidance to make all arrangements perfectly for the pleasure of Radha and Krishna. So sometimes what she chastises Krishna, because, so for example, even though it is said that she is jealousy, all these moods that the gopis have, it is not manifested for them, but it is manifested only to give pleasure to Radha and Krishna. So she determines the time when Radha meet. And if Radharani goes there early, and if Krishna comes late, then Radharani has man, means she gets anger. So now Lalita Sakhi chastises Krishna for being late to meet Radharani, and why her goddess Radharani has to wait to meet Krishna. So she chastises. For example, one pastime that I heard is near Govardhan, all the gopis came to pluck flowers. And Krishna wanted to pick a quarrel with them. So he went there and he told that, I am the master of the Vraja, and I own all these flowers, and how come you are plucking these flowers without my permission? And then immediately Vishaka comes in. Lalita comes in. And then Lalita says that, how many seeds did you plant in Vraja? We are the ones who plant and we water. And then Krishna says that, oh, you talk back to, do you know who I am? I am so great, I am religion personified. And then you talk back to me. And then immediately Lalita starts, oh, you know how much exalted religious person you are. And then she starts saying like how Krishna stole the butter, and he is very famous. And then when he was only 7 years old, he killed a woman, Putana, and then he stole the gopis. So what kind of a religious personality, or sarcastically, she brings up all those activities to increase the mellows of the pastimes of Krishna. So like this is just one pastime of how she is jealous in the sense. This is the ecstasy of the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. And also all the associates of Sri Krishna, they also manifested and they also appeared when Krishna appeared as Chaitanya. And they say that Swarup Damodar Goswami Acharyas is a prevalent thing about amongst the Acharyas, that Swarup Damodar Goswami is an expansion of Lalita, though I think it's mentioned as the expansion of Vishaka in the Gauda Ganadesh Depika, but our Acharyas, the common prevalence is that Lalita, he's an expansion of Lalita. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to, everybody has to approach Chaitanya Mahaprabhu only through Swarup Damodar Goswami. So even if they write anything, everything will be filtered by Swarup Damodar Goswami. We also know the past time when once one devotee wrote a paragraph and gave it to Swarup Damodar Goswami, and Swarup Damodar Goswami rejected it, saying that there is an overlapping of rasa and Mahaprabhu will not like it. So like that, even our acharyas like Raghunath Das Goswami, when they had any explanation they need to have from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they will go through Swarup Damodar Goswami, and Mahaprabhu will give the explanation to Swarup Damodar Goswami, and then they get it. So that's how it is he in the form in the Gaura Leela. It is also said in Gauda Ganadesh Deepika that Ramananda Rai and also Gadadhar Pandit, because one personality is a combination of many personalities. So Gadadhar Pandit, we say that he's an expansion of Radharani, but because Lalita Sakhi is also called Anuradha. Anuradha means the one who follows in the footsteps of Radharani. So she also entered into Gadadhar Pandit. So it's a combination of Lalita and so there is also she also has her own Kund and Kunj and also Kund. Lalita Kund is also there in Vrindavan. In Lalita Kund, it is said that there are all the other 64 kunds. The effects of all the 64 kunds can be had by taking bath in Lalita Kund. So what happened is after Krishna killed Arishtasura, the bull, he came and he took bath in Lalita Kund. And when he went to the Gopis said that, you killed the bull, and now you are contaminated with that sin of killing the bull. So and then Krishna will say that, no, I took bath in Lalita Kund. And then they will say that, we never saw all the rivers and holy rivers enter into Lalita Kund. We never saw that. So what Krishna will do, and then we know that pastime of how Shyam Kund was created and Radha Kund was created and Shyam Kund was created, and then both combined flew and filled the. So Radha Kund is nothing but the molten liquid form of the love that Radharani has for Krishna, and both of them combined and overflew into Lalita Kund, and it's a very special place. And there is also, she has her own kunja, and it's called Lalita Kunj. And there is also a pastime related to that with Narada Muni. Would you like to explain that?
So, once Krishna was talking to Srimati Radharani, and Krishna said to Radharani that, oh Radharani, you should always be careful with Narada Muni. And Radharani said, oh, why, And Krishna said, no, you should just be careful with Narada Muni. And it was the season of the festival, the Julan festival time, swing festival. And Krishna was waiting with all the gopis, and Radharani was getting ready. And Narada Muni comes, and Narada Muni says, Narada Muni comes, and Krishna knows he's a sage. Though Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as a part of the Leela, he and all the gopis, they offer their respects to Narada Muni, and Krishna asks him, oh Narada Muni, what would you like? What can I offer you? You're a great sage, and please allow me to serve you. Let me offer you something. And Narada Muni says, oh Krishna, I just want one thing. I want one thing. I want to see you and Lalita Sakhi swing together on the same swing. And Krishna says, oh, okay, no problem. And then Lalita Sakhi is told that Krishna tells Lalita Sakhi, you please, I want to see you on the swing with me, because Narada Muni said, and Lalita Sakhi said, oh, no, because this spot is only reserved for my Radharani. How can I sit there? And Krishna said, oh, no problem, you can just sit, and when Radharani comes, Radharani can sit. So Lalita Sakhi very reluctantly sits on the seat. And we have to keep in mind that Narada Muni is known for being mischievous in one sense, and sometimes in increasing the vasa of the Leela. So Narada Muni goes to Srimati Radharani is. And Srimati Radharani is dressing herself and looking into the mirror, which actually has a specific name, and she is decorating herself, unlike the way in which materialistic women decorate themselves to give pleasure to non-materialistic men. Radharani was dressing in order to give pleasure to Krishna. And when Narada Muni goes there, he sees Radharani. He says, "Oh, Radharani, what are you dressing yourself for? Go and see, look on the swing. Lalita Sakhi is already sitting with Krishna." And Radharani leaves all her decorating, and she runs to the place where they were supposed to meet, and she sees that Krishna is swinging with Lalita Sakhi, and she becomes very, very, very angry, and she kind of chastises them, and then Krishna says, only wanted this, and they kind of brought together the situation, and Krishna said, "See, I told you should be careful with Narada Muni." So that was a pastime.
Thank you for sharing. So now, to please Lalita, let's sing Shakam, and it's written by Rupa Goswami, and it's very pleasing to Radharani. So let's read the meaning first, and then we'll recite the shloka.
I offer pranam unto the haughty Sri Lalita Devi, who engages in wiping away the glittering drops of perspiration from the lotus feet of Sri Radha and Madhava, who is perpetually immersed in the most elevated, intimate mellows of divine love, and who is a charming repository of qualities such as beauty, sweetness, and gravity. I offer pranam unto Sri Lalita Devi, whose beautiful face marks the brilliance of the full moon, whose eyes are ever restless like those of a startled doe, who is famous for her extraordinary expertise in the art of dressing Srimati Radhika, and who is the repository of unlimited feminine qualities. I offer pranam unto Sri Lalita Devi, whose limbs are adorned with a blouse as brilliant colored as the multicolored feather of an ecstatically dancing peacock, whose hair partition is decorated with a shimmering red vermilion, who wears various necklaces and other beautiful ornaments, and whose upper body is beautifully adorned with an immensely attractive bodice. Her golden complexion defeats that of a Gaurachana, a bright yellow pigment employed in painting, dyeing, and tilak, and she possesses innumerable good qualities. I offer pranam unto Sri Lalita Devi, the charming treasure house of all good qualities, who instructs Srimati Radhika in this. O Kalankini, unchaste one, Radhe, listen to my beneficial words. Brajendra Nandan is very guileful. Don't display your mood of gentle submission to him. Instead, in all circumstances, always be contrary. I offer unto the abode of all good qualities, the supremely charming Sri Lalita Devi, who upon hearing Sri Krishna speak even a few crafty words to Srimati Radhika immediately becomes furious and embarrasses Krishna by speaking sarcastic words such as, "You are so truthful and simple-hearted, such a chaste lover." I offer my pranam unto the supremely charming Sri Lalita Devi, who possesses the aggregate of divine qualities. She is the receptacle for Srimati Yashoda Devi's parental affection, the guru of all the Sakhis, who instructs them on the matter of friendship, the very life of both Srimati Radhika and the younger brother of Baladev. I offer pranam unto the supremely charming Sri Lalita Devi, the treasure house of all good qualities. Upon seeing many young maiden anywhere in Vraja and discerning that she is inclined toward her Priya Sakhi Radhika, Lalita immediately fulfills all of that maiden's internal desires and satisfies her completely. I offer pranam unto Sri Lalita Devi, the embodiment of all divine virtues and the foremost of the Sakhis of Gokula. Her primary task is providing enjoyment for Sri Radha. by arranging for them to meet, and she has more longing to perform this merry task than she does to enjoy the entirety of other types of festivals. If a person with a cheerful heart and pure heart recites this Ashtaka in praise of Lalita Devi, who is superbly ornamented with the qualities of beauty, grace, and charm, Srimati Radhika, the effulgent, wish-fulfilling creeper in the family of Vrishabhanu Maharaj, affectionately draws that person toward her and adopts her among her group of Sakhis.
So, 9th verse is the inspiration to chant this. This is a happy birthday song to Lalita Sakhi. So, we'll sing that. So we'll read the first line. Last line is the refrain. So we'll start from there. Radha Mukunda Pada Sambhava Karma Bindu Radha Mukunda No, what I'm saying is first line I read and then you can repeat like that, yeah? Radha Mukunda Pada Sambhava Karma Bindu Nirmanchanopakaranikrita Deha Laksham Uttunga Sauhrida Vishesha Vashat Pragalbham Devim Gunai Sulalitam Lalitam Namami Devim Gunai Sulalitam Lalitam Namami Raka Sudakirana Mandala Kanti Dandi Sudakirana Mandala Kanti Dandi Vakta Shriyam Chakita Charu Chamuranet Shriyam Chakita Charu Chamuranetra Radha Prasadana Vidana Kala Prasiddham Prasadana Vidana Kala Prasiddham Devim Gunai Sulalitam Lalitam Namami Lasyo Lasad Pujaga Shatrupatatra Chitra Pattam Sukhabarana Kanchuli Kanchidangim Kabarana Kanchuli Kanchidangim Gorochana Ruchi Vigarhana Gaurimanam Chana Vigarhana Gaurimanam Devim Gunai Sulalitam Lalitam Namami Durte Vrajendra Tanaya Tanushushtuvamyam Vrajendra Tanaya Shuštuvamyam Madakshina Bhavakalanki Nilagavaya Dakshina Bhavakalanki Nilagavaya Radhe Giram Shunuhitam Iti Shikshayantim Radhe Giram Shunuhitam Iti Shikshayantim Devim Gunai Sulalitam Lalitam Namami Radham Abhivrajapate Kritamatmajena Kutam Managapi Vilokya Vilohitakshim Vagbangibistamachirena Vilajjayantim Devim gunai sulalitam lalitam namami. Vatsalya vrinda vasatim pashupalara. Sankhyanushikshana kalasu gurum sakinam. Radha balavaraja jivit nirvishesham. Devim gunai sulalitam lalitam namami. Yam kamapi vraje kula vrishabhanujaya. Prekshya swapaksha padavim anuradhyamanam. Sadyastadishta gatanena kritartim. Devim gunai sulalitam lalitam namami. Radha vrajendra suta sangacharyam. Varyam vinishchitavatim akilotsavebhya. Varyam vinishchavatim akilotsavebhya. Tam gokula priya saki nikuramba mukyam. Gokula priya saki nikuramba mukyam. Devim gunai sulalitam lalitam namami. Nandan namoni lalita guna lalita lalitani. Namoli guna lalitani. Padayani yapata maladishtirashtau. Yani yapatati nirmaladrishtirashtau. Pritya vikarshati janam nija vrinda madhye. Vikarshati janam nija vrinda madhye. Tam kirtida patikula kalpavalli. Kirtida patakulojvala kalpavalli. Devim gunai sulalitam lalitam namami. Vim gunai sulalitam lalitam namami. Devim gunai sulalitam namami. Devim gunai sulalitam lalitam namami. So let's that Lalita Devi provides us with unmotivated and uninterrupted loving devotional service to all the to the Lord and His devotees and to His holy name. So with this, we'll stop the class here and we'll start the Guru Puja. And we thank you all very much for attending the class this morning. Hare Krishna.